Excuse me, guys. Woo! So let's try that one more time for the road. Peace, 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 y'all. This is Coach Empress Rena Nicole, and this is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. A special episode today because it is season 1 finale, so we're going for an hour long this morning. Period. Yeah, so we do have a special guest coming on today. As you can see, so I'm just so happy that this has been a 60-day journey. Oh my goodness. So we are on our 60th episode. Welcome, Ms. Rosa. And period. It's just like, wow, we're at 60 days now. Really, 60 days. So it was been like a culmination of a self-development journey for a lot of people that do tune in. Learning skill sets, learning how to address triggers, and many different things. With that being said, kick back to this vibe for a few more seconds, and we're going to jump right into the special episode of Divine Intervention Show, AM Inspiration Show, to wake that ass up. Hey, Miss Rosa.
Good morning.
Great Rising, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Happy that you're here.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what's going on? You know me. I gotta not wake up, but I worked last night, so I had to put my mind frame better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm just super excited. I can't believe it's been 60 episodes already. Can you believe that?
That went by fast, didn't it?
Hmm.
I said that 60 days went by fast.
It did. When I started this podcast, I was like, it was something to help me with my own personal mental health journey and my own personal, journey. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work, but you know what? I'm gonna get back into it. I felt like it was gonna get me back into that space I needed to be in, that I wanted to be in. And it actually took me to a better place than I ever thought I could be. If that makes any sense.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
so welcome Adewale. So Ms. Rosa, that's Adewale, and that's our special guest. He's gonna be talking about the Akashic Records today. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but
I have.
yeah, tune in and tune up. So yeah, because you're gonna be in season 2, Miss Rosa. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. So we're gonna be tackling some issues
Oh,
that affect
yeah.
women, and I'm super excited about that.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yes. So hey, Mr. Adewale, what's up with you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How's everybody doing?
I'm
Uh,
doing good. I'm doing good. Came up off the midnight shift, so I'm still fresh though. I'm at home now.
okay. Can you guys
What'd you say, honey? I can't hear you.
hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, so today I want to talk about the Akashic Records, of course. Miss Rosa, please feel free to talk about what you have to offer the world as well. But because we're talking about the Akashic Record, I still want to talk about something with that has to do with self-development, ending out season 1, because we just ended spiritual week and we're going to move right into friendship week on Thursday. That's when we start our new season on Thursday. And I want to talk about the last thing to me was being overlooked and undervalued. So I want to know, how can that affect what you had with the Akashic Records? How can that affect someone? How do you see those things? And also, Ms. Rose, I think that can tap into what you have to offer. But if you're too tired, to talk on that, that's fine. But
No,
otherwise,
I'm
please
okay.
go in on being overlooked and undervalued and how that affects people, and when you're doing these Akashic Record reading and what it actually Akashic Records are and things of that nature. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for having me in this space. I appreciate it. Being undervalued or over. So how I can put this in the energy with Akashic Records. So first, I want to talk about what is Akashic Records, so you guys can understand what it is before I go into depth of like the underdevelopment or the self-development, or if you overdevelop in one way or the other. So the Akashic Records is the infinite knowledge of the universe. You can make this basically like the ancient Wi-Fi. of the universe. The Akashic Record was found with documentation in 1883, and it was found in like the Hindu philosophy, the Hindu religion, and they call it the Akasha. Akasha means ethers, and ethers is the elements of air, fire, water, and earth. And this is what makes like up this visible world. So the Akasha includes all vital forces. And when you tap into the energy of the Akashic records, you tap into that infinite knowledge. The first person who was really known for this was this Egyptian deity or the Egyptian god named Thoth. He was the Egyptian first philosopher. He was the inventor of writing, the creator of language, the scribe, and he was the protector um of the records of the universe. And he was the king of Egypt for 14,000 years. So why am I talking about why he was 14,000 years? This shows that this ancient technology that they use is some keys to our human nature. It's some keys to the human race. And why I feel like it's so important is because the more people that tap into the Akashic records and the more we do it collectively, the more we can change this world, the more we can be in a better world. Because why in ancient time that it's a person that can rule over 14,000 years, where in this time we could barely live to 100. So that tells me that it's something in this ancient technology that we can put in this technology, in this modern day technology, and put them together to create a whole new world for you, me, and everyone else. Um, so with the underdevelopment and the overdevelopment of like self-development within a person, in the Akashic records, you can go into their energy of their soul. So you can go into their past, their present, and their future and gain knowledge so they can integrate that in this present moment. Why do I say present moment? Present moment is quantum. That's the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. So when you learn about your past self, your good, your bad, and then what you could do in the future, that's how you integrate it in the present moment so you can be in your highest timeline and be in tune to your higher self. For example, I'll give you guys an example for me. So for me, tapping into my Akashic records, I know how many times I lived. I know what my other lifetimes I done, and I know things that I done good, and I know what I done bad. So how does that help me in my self development? I understand that I can be an authority figure. So I understand that I could be a leader. So with that energy that I'm understanding about myself, I'm learning from other leaders so I can become a better leader for myself and a leader for other people. In the past, when I was 3 years old, in this lifetime, I was doing stuff like I will be basically making action figures from paper. Like I will tear paper and make it into an action figure, and I will be fighting and doing stuff like that. And I didn't know what that was. And I'm realizing from me gaining this knowledge that was me tapping into the Akashic records naturally, and no one ever taught me this. So I feel like for me learning that about myself, this is my gift that God has given me so I can help people access their own records, so they can help people in their records and teach people from the records. And we all use these records so we can be in an energy of our higher self. That's what I have. I'm Adewale, and I'm done speaking for right now.
I have a question, and this is just simple. It might seem simple, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Um, is it safe to say that Akashic records are like a spiritual form of genetics?
I love that question.
You can say that, And I'm gonna break that down of spiritual genetics. So when you say spiritual genetics, I take that as like your spiritual DNA.
Yes,
Correct.
like how your genetics gives you a picture of things that have been passed down from generation to generation.
Absolutely. So yes. So in the Akashic records, you can go into like you, for example, let's say I open up the records and I say I want to learn about my ancestral lineage from my mom's side. What is the generational trauma? Then I go into that energy and I find what that generational trauma is, and then I see that I have that as well. So I say, okay, how can I heal this? How can I move forward from this? And then from the ethers, you can learn. They will tell you how you can heal this, clear this, release this, so you can receive more things. That when you heal you, you don't just heal you heal your ancestral lineage. So that will heal my mom, my grandma, my great grandma, my great great grandma, my great 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 grandma. So this will be healing the generational ancestral lineage. This is DNA, because DNA is memory, just like your body holds trauma memory. So when you tap into that energy and you release that, this is how you release trauma, karmatic debt, and this is how you align yourself, and not only yourself, but your family lineage to higher timelines, so you can be in your higher self.
Thank you for that. I've only heard of what you're speaking of. I've never delved into it, but it has always, every time it comes up, is something that sparks my interest, and I definitely want to look into it. I'm an Aquarius, so you already know where we are.
And I'm a, just from you saying that, I'm gonna make this make more sense to you. So you're Aquarius, right? So as Aquarius, we're in an energy, in a universe of the age of Aquarius. If you break down what Aquarius mean, it means knowing. So we're in an age of knowing, and the Akashic records, it's a records of knowing. So with you as Aquarius, subconsciously your energy is telling you this is something that intrigues my soul, because you and this and the time that we're in the energy of knowing, when you know thyself. So when you tap into the Akashic records for yourself, that's when you be in the energy of learning more of thyself. That makes sense.
Oh, it makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you.
Hey guys, yeah, I was on mute. So thank you so much, because I had asked a few questions. I'm like, oh snap, I'm on mute. So only people that heard me was Clubhouse, right? So yeah, so thank you so much for talking about that. There's something I always talk about on this podcast anyway for the last 60 days, is that when you focus way too much in your past, no, like when you become way too nostalgic in your past, you experience depression on many different levels. You would experience mental illness. And when you hyper focus in your future, you experience anxiety, another form of mental illness. Because guess what? You're not remaining grounded in your present to be able to just simply focus on what you want to do for the future and simply remember the past. If that makes any sense, and know that these are reference points in the past, and there's not a place to go back to and dwell. You get what I'm saying? Because so many people are unhappy with their present that they leave that energy of being grounded and propelling themselves forward. They leave this state of being present and grounded to go backwards and like, you know what, I was happier in another time. you know um Even spiritual workers do it and go into their past times, their past lives, and they like, oh, it's so miserable here in this realm, I'm so sad, instead of realizing that all these things are references, and that's why they keep on returning back to earth in that physical form with a spiritual existence, right? So I'm definitely on that, because I know that a lot of times in this fourth dimension, that excuse me, fourth dimension meaning Earth right now that we're on, okay? So we're here, and it's chaotic. It's definitely chaotic. So, using the Akashic records can help us to, I'm obsessed with genetics, okay? Definitely, I'm obsessed with genetic memory. Even in our divine tribe of women, we talk about genetic memory and trauma, right? And how to go back into that trauma and actually eat healthier or do things to erase that memory so we're not passing it genetically through pregnancy, through our bloodline, and different things of that nature. So so my question for you is opening up and I feel like you may have answered it already, but a little bit more clarity for the people in the back that may be listening to the replays or maybe somewhere else listening. And please don't forget to share. If you're somewhere, share the link out to your friends and bring them in here so they can, hear you and ask questions and stuff like that. Now, the Akashic Records. So when you were thinking about genetic memory and the erasure of trauma, we're going to use erasure because I believe that through a healthy diet, like a raw vegan diet, like at least a week out of the month, like consistently for like at least 2 or 3 years, and that self-work, that shadow work, that light work too, because people only focus on shadow work. Does it actually help with the erasure of that genetic memory that's not good for the conducive of our growth? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, because when you heal yourself, you heal your lineage, because you are all. So also the Akashic Records, I talked about that it was a philosopher, Thoth, but Thoth also had another name named Hermes from Greek times, and Hermes is a person who made the 7 Hermetic laws. So one of the laws is the mind is all, and we are all one. So if we are all one and we are all connected, so when I heal me, I heal you. So because if you think you're different, and I feel like this is something I need to touch on to get people to understand, when you think you are different and you think you are better than other people, or you think that like what you got nobody else got, you're not in the energy of all. Because energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only transfers, right? So when we leave this human vessel, we don't die. This human vessel dies, but we transfer, right? So since we transfer, you either transfer into a higher consciousness or a lower consciousness or a different realm. So what I want to make sense and answer your question is, everything's a reflection. What you go through with somebody, with a man, it's a reflection with you. What you don't like about someone is something that you don't like about yourself. Everything's a reflection. Everything is a mirror. No matter if you black, white, green, blue, purple, everything's a reflection. So one thing's a higher you and one is just a lower you. So you got to look at everything as a reflection to learn and grow and to evolve your soul. Because this is what we all are here for in this earthly realm. We're here to evolve our soul so we can move to the path to enlightenment. Do we know how that looks? No, but you got to trust. And that's the energy of the Hermetic laws. You got to trust, as above, so below, as within, so without. We are all one. We are oneness. This is the collective conscious of oneness. The mind is all. Not one person in this world knows everything, because we are all mortals. But you can be in a walk of knowing. When you're in a walk of knowing, you in the energy of faith, in the energy of trust, in the energy of God consciousness. And when you get there, you help others get there. So like, that's what I have, and hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, it did make sense. I did want to touch on something.
Hold on, guys. I had hit my horn. I've been on mute. Hold on.
Okay.
So you can only hear me on Clubhouse. I keep on forgetting I put myself on mute. I'm not used to that. I've been talking to you and putting myself on mute. Hold on 1 second, Miss Rosa. Yeah, so being Miss Rosa, after your question, I'm going to go in a little bit more into being overlooked and undervalued. Because we are moving into our second season of Friendship Week, but this is the last day of spiritual. Because we do like every other week, we do spiritual rooms, but I feel like everything is connected to spirit. So I'm definitely here for that, and I can't wait for you to hear your question, Miss Rosa. Thank you.
It wasn't a question. What it is more so a statement on something that you said. And I'm a mental health nurse, and I really appreciate the fact that you said people who dwell in the past suffer from depression, and others who are hyper focused on the future or the unknown have anxiety. This is something that I tell my patients all the time. They have to be fully present. The past is gone. There's nothing they can do to change it. And these future fears that they have are also unwarranted because that time hasn't gotten here. So we don't truly know what the future holds for us. You can always prepare, but don't stay so far focused on it until, like you said, it's giving you anxiety. So it's always very, very important to remain present. When you remain present and you're aware of your surroundings and the things that you can actually tangibly change, that's when you get out of what we in the medical field call like a fugue state, where it's you're just foggy in the head and you're just in this state of not knowing.
Mm-hmm. We call it
So
the gray area, Miss Rosa. We call it the gray area, right? Right, Adewale? You in that gray area. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you want to exist, but you're not existing. So you're neither balanced or imbalanced. You're just there. You're just
Mm-hmm.
there, like a speck in the universe. Mm-hmm. You're not using neither your light energy. You're not using your dark energy to heal. You're just there. And a lot of people get there, and that's that stagnation, that static energy. You know, that gray area. Gray area is literally described as static energy. You know what I'm saying? So, how can you grow from that? And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a healer, or I'm this and I'm that, but they're in that static energy where every time you talk to them, it's the same problems. Every time you talk to them, it's the same energy. Every time you talk to them, it's a cycle of the same bullshit, right? Period. Hello? Hello? Listen, do not feel shy to curse here. We go in because this is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up consciously, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, and soulfully, period. So, yes, we are getting into the second half of this hour of our season finale. So I just want to say thank you to our special guest, Mr. Adewale. What's up to Ms. Rosa? Thank you for being here, and anyone else is listening out there in the metaverse. With that being said, I have another question for you. So how can you use, because you said we can use our Akashic records to, develop ourselves in our most healthiest form. You know me, just like Ms. Rosa, she's a mental health nurse. I'm not a nurse, right? But, I talk to her because she helps, like she nurtures me. Nurses nurture the world, right? But she doesn't treat me like, oh, she treats me the same way I treat other people. Like, listen, here's the water, you horse. Now you either drink it or not, because I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'm not going to be remaining around energy that doesn't want to be productive. I'm not, I'll come back and check on you. But if I keep on coming back and it's the same problems, then I'm going to remove myself, because what it's going to do is going to impact me now. It's going to impact me in a way where I might go beyond my own character to step outside my character to help you, when I know damn well you had the power to do it for yourself. Period. And that's why I respect her. But that's a whole nother story, right? Period. Okay, y'all. Now, so using your Akashic records when you feel undervalued and underappreciated or overlooked, right? I want to know how would you do that? Because I speak to you often. Haven't known you that long, but like I said, I feel like I've known you forever, and we just relinked. We re-linked up. Like universe is like, oh, look at your person, like look at one of your people. It's like, oh snap, okay, period. So how would you use your Akashic records to help you? Like, say for instance, if you're already feel like, okay, I would describe this, please. I mean, laugh, unmute and laugh if y'all want to. This is very animated place here, so I feel like I'm in a cocoon, right? And I've been going through transformation periods. I feel like I go through them every 3 to 6 months, okay, out of the year. And I feel like that I'm there in a cocoon, and my little butterfly leg is so cute. It's a little dainty little leg, and it's sticking out. The little knee is sticking out. Just imagine that, right? It's just sticking out. It's like, ooh, it's a little cold outside. Not sure yet. So how would you use that to fully come out of that cocoon, and not really, because it's not a thing of validation, but it's a thing of knowing that, hey, they may overlook you, they may undervalue you, they may underappreciate you, but taking those away from like, okay, this is how you need to tap into this, because this is trauma. This is not you. Because sometimes you're aware that it's not you. I don't know if anyone else is aware when they feel certain things and know that it's not coming from them. They know it's coming from somewhere else along the line. But with that being complete, that's my question for you.
To answer that, so I'll give you an example. So in my life, when I was a young one, I went through a lot, Um, black kid. I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri. Ferguson, Missouri is where like the energy of Mike Brown and all that stuff happened. Ferguson, Missouri is one of the most dangerous cities in America. So like being in a place like that was really hard for me. And like I was a mind you, I'm black. I was a really nice dude. Just naturally. Like I was nice to everyone and I always just wanted best for everyone. But like one thing I struggled with was like with black women. Like black women who just thought I was too nice and always friend zone me, or like I even got bullied, or it was times where I was getting called ugly. Like and I did not like that. And I it messed me up a lot, you know. And to the point where when I went to middle school, um whew, I transitioned to the energy of wanting to be white because my own people didn't accept me. My own people did not like me. But you got other dudes that I was seeing calling women out their names, sagging, acting like a nigga. And I wasn't that. But it's like they was attracted to that. But then, Wale, you're just so nice. Shouldn't that be nice? Like, is it wrong to be nice? And the reason I'm telling this story is then I grew up and then I got access to the records. And I understand that for me finding out who I am, that was part of the process. I had to be stripped of my blackness. I had to be stripped of being bullied and all that. And then when I remembered, I was in the energy of the I am. I was in the energy of knowing who I am. And when you know who you are, no one can dictate or take away who you are unless you allow them to. So I'm saying that I allow them to people to to tell me who I was, or was I wrong, was I right, should I be black, should I be white. But once I found out who I was, this is how I went through that I can help other people elevate who they are, because that's what I experienced and that's what I went through. And I learned that through the Akashic Records who I was. And when I found out who I was and the power that I have within me, that's that energy is empowerment. You have to empower yourself when you're feeling down. You have to change the energy to negative to positive. You got to change that energy to dark into light. That's that energy of transmuting. So let's say this too, to give you guys an example. So let's say,
I have a question for you before you get an example. So,
okay,
okay, so my question, and Miss Rosa, feel free too as well. My question for the stage is this. Now, say that you are a person that does love yourself. You do know who you are, and it's like I said, it's a form of genetic memory or genetic attraction, because people don't want to talk about genetic attraction, right? Hello, period. They don't want to talk about that now. Like I said, that's one of my obsessions is genetics, right? So, say if you are a person that works on yourself daily, and it's not that you only feel it, you see it, so you know it's not a thing you're doing to yourself. So, how do you work on receiving, how you receive energy? I think that is a part of self love. I'm sure 1,000%, because I feel like something I've already taught a million times already. But how do you receive energy when it's like a place that you have to be around? Say, for instance, your career or your workplace or your family. How do you receive energy differently when it's that energy of always like you're not going to be good enough, or you're not appreciated only when you're doing something for someone else? And I know the quickest way to say it, oh, cut them off. It's so quick. It's so quick to be dismissive nowadays. It's so quick to cut everybody off nowadays because nobody wants to do the work. So I'm one of those people that's 100% on doing work until the work doesn't work anymore. If they're not receiving the work at the time, they're not willing to commit to the work, then I feel like then you get to move how you move. So with that being said, does anyone have an idea of how they would handle that, or how they have handled that in the past, or how they plan to help people handle that in the future? Thank you.
okay. So You can go about this a couple ways. So you said receive, right? So receive, if you think of it in a gender way, receiving is feminine. That's feminine energy. Giving is masculine. So receiving, why do I feel like I can't receive? Why do I feel like I'm not enough? Okay, let's break that down. Let's go deeper, like in the energy of the records. Okay, is this something from this lifetime where I feel like I can't receive, or I'm attracting this funky energy that doesn't align with me? Okay, let's find what is the source. What's the source? We got to go to the source of what it is. So this might be something from a past life or deep from your lineage of not feeling enough. So when you see that it's a lineage of, let's say this, let's say um I'm always trying to prove who I am, and like I don't feel like I'm enough, and then I go into the records and then I find out this is the trauma I went through from my mom lineage. This is when you go into the records, you see this, and say you're clearing the past, the present, and the future of this energy from my motherly lineage, and you cut those cords because this energy no longer serves you. So when you cut those cords and you release all those energy, and you cry and you release this out out your out your energy, out your body, out your mind, and out your spirit. Then that's when that attraction will change, because now you can receive. But you can't receive if you didn't release that trauma, because if you still have that trauma stuck in your body, it's going to keep coming to you. You're going to be magnetic to that because that's the familiar trauma. But once you release that, you can receive a higher energy, a higher frequency. That makes sense?
Definitely makes sense. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Miss Rosa, you want to add in before I go respond to this? Thank you so much, Adewale.
No, you can go ahead and answer.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, and genetically, I always feel like it's a way to go in and restore when your mind is right. Because even though, I've done teachings, over the past long behind time, because I don't want people to get, I like to keep my age a secret. Honestly, honestly. But no, really, I feel like it's been like the last, what, almost 13, 14 years that I've been teaching spirituality and healing. And I feel like a lot of times that I had to teach myself how to heal myself. It's easier to point a finger on where somebody else is going wrong. And that style of teaching, I dropped it years and years ago because I figured that it was not conducive for anyone's growth to point out their flaws, to maximize their what's going wrong with them. And I'll always highlight what I see that was right. I would always highlight pathways where they would feel like, even myself, because I was going to actually look in to see what's going on with my ancestors. Why do I always fall back into that I feel unappreciated thing? Why do I always, and I was like, I feel unappreciated, right? But I sent Miss Rosa a link 2 times, and every time she showed up for me. So that's not the truth. It's a lie that I tell myself that I'm underappreciated. It's a lie that I tell myself that nobody values me or cares about me, right? Because it's not the truth, right? She, no matter what, she just always shows up for me. Even if she driving home from work where she shouldn't be talking on the phone at all, which I really hate. She's like, no, baby, I got this. You're on speaker. You know what I mean? If you need me now, I got you. Period. Okay. And that's a real friend for me. Like, she's a real friend for me because I don't have to ever worry about her. It's not like I demand her. No, I demand you to show up for me. No, it's just it's a natural flowing energy that I know that she actually cares about me. And even when I'm telling myself that lie, she's like, no, that's not true about me. She always stopped me. She's like, that's not true, baby girl. That's not true. Now you tripping a little bit. Like, you tripping. That's not true. Just leave them people alone. That's how they making you feel. And like but she knows me. Like, I want to dive deeper in. I want to see the root of the problem. I want to try to fix it most of the time. And probably to my own demise. But I think what you said, literally, when you had that cluttered mind, healer or not, because I don't walk around like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. No, I feel like I'm a human. I'm experiencing human experiences, whether I have gifts or not, right? So in experiencing those things, I do feel like that because I have to be vulnerable in certain aspects of that. My vulnerability is out there, and sometimes I feel undervalued and I feel overlooked. And I know that when in certain spaces outside of like Clubhouse, I share a thing and people are like, oh shit, like she online, or like my friends like, oh yeah, I really loved the episode. I have one episode with 182 views, and then I had 2 people tell me I was a failure in 1 week about my podcast. And that's how I met Mr. Adewale last week, because I was breaking down. So do you want to even like tap in and tell me the difference in energy that you've seen since when you met me and right now speaking to you? Because I want to know what I did genetically to change how I felt. I'm not saying I'm over feeling that way, but I'm saying that I'm not walking through that energy the same way anymore of believing what people are saying about me.
Because you're stepping in your power. You're not allowing people to take your power away. You're putting your power back into yourself and standing strong of what you believe in yourself. You're standing your ground, and you're holding that spiritual boundary that, no, this is who I am. I am who I am, and you can't tell me who I am. But you release a karmatic cycle of you allowing people to take their power away, or external validation. You're internally validating yourself that you don't need no external validation. That makes sense?
It does, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna be alone forever.
But see, that's part of that's part of your abandonment issue still, though.
No, what you say? I'm sorry.
I said that's part of the abandonment. Like,
no, it was a joke. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. You didn't hear? Can y'all hear my soundboard?
No.
Oh, that's the part. I was like, why can't they hear me? So I have a soundboard going on. I was wondering, like, why do they talk through the soundboard? I'm using like horns when y'all speak. I'm using when you listen to the replay in Collage, you're like, oh, that makes sense why she's talking like that, because I'm using sound effects, but y'all can't hear them. I was wondering whether you could hear them or not. So I'm not sure why y'all can't hear the sound effects. That actually sucks. So thank you for that. So Ms. Rosa, you want to add anything in or ask any questions about what we just talked about?
No, I'm just thoroughly even more intrigued now about this Akashic Records. Only because you know me personally, and I've always said I know my purpose here. I've always known it since I was very, very young. And it's just very intriguing to me because even you, Empress, it's not like we talk every day in and day out. We don't do that. But I do contact you when something moves in me spiritually, and I'll just call you out of the blue and I'll tell you, hey, you were on my mind. I need to talk to you. There's something I need to tell you, or I'm feeling that something's going on with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that not, with especially people who are close to me, but it goes with me knowing why I am here in this realm. I know that I was put here to help other people, usher them through life, being that health or personal. I just know that, and I feel good in that space. That's who I am naturally. That's why I do the work that I do. But I'm really interested in this Akashic Records, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. I said that when I first met him. I didn't even wait like a day. I just like, yo, I need you on my podcast. Like, I'm in tears. Like, I need you on my podcast. Like, I need you on my podcast, and I told him why. I said, I don't really have a lot of like black male friends around me or black men around me. I said, but when he showed up, he didn't show up as like, oh, I'm this man. Here's my dick and here's my balls. No. Like, he showed up like, hey, I'm this human, and that's fucked up that you feel like that, but I'm here for you. I'm here for you, and it was a bunch of people together, like in this group, and it was like so much divine energy. Now, Miss Rosa, I don't want to get too deep into detail. Something was really, really dark within me, and she had a horrible dream, and she called me to tell me about it, and she's like, I see a bridge, and it's a brown bridge, and it's a train under it. She's like, and I see trolleys, I see tracks, she said, but I see somebody just jumping off, and I seen her jump, and it was like falling down. And she said before she smacked the train, I woke up. She's like, I don't know why. She's like, been bothering me, and been bothering me, and bothering me. And I just broke down and cried. She's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, well, that's what I was planning on doing all weekend long. She was like, what? She was like, oh my God, I'm getting the chills all over me just for sharing the story in public. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel like there's something, most people share it in public, when they're in a dark, dark place. But Ms. Rosa was like, wow, that shit been haunting me at work. She's like, it was haunting me at work. It was hunting me, ever since I woke up. It's been hunting me all night. She's like, and something was like, call her and tell her about this story. So you want to go deeper into that story? That's great. I want to hear more about that, because we are talking about Akashic records and genetic memory and damage that we experience. So I'm definitely interested in how you received that when you got that dream that was waking you up to contact me now. It was an emergency.
Yes, I've always been this way, even with family and everything. I am a dreamer, a seer, whatever you want to put it to. I'm just who I am. So, it's not to denounce or shy away from anything that anybody else does, but I'm not a believer in a lot of things, okay? I'm a very skeptical person, but all my life I've been able to when something's going on with someone, for some reason it always comes to me in a dream. And if I do not say anything, it never is a time where I can't say anything. Sometimes I try to ignore it, but the more I ignore it, the stronger this feeling gets. So, like I said, when I had that dream about you, I was like, it was really, really bothering me, and I had to call you to see what's going on with you, because that was the first thing I asked you. I said, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a minute. Everything okay over there?" And you were kind of like hesitant and trying to give me like an answer, kind of to make me stop. And I was like, are you sure nothing's going on? Because I had a dream, and then I went on to tell her about the dream like she had just said. But I've always been that way, with people. Like I said, I know my purpose here in this realm. I know this purpose, and I do get attacked. I have been just horribly attacked, and what I'm not going to go into detail about it, but people tried to discredit my name and say that I was doing all of these things. And I've gone back to kind of being quiet and just continuing to do the work that I do. I have not missed a beat. I still do it. And now the people who tried to discredit me, a lot of things have came their way and been thrown in their path. They have failed miserably. Their marriages have been broken. Just a lot of things. So, some people who are Christians say, don't mess with a child of God. I'm not a Christian, but I can say, when you're messing with people just for the ill intent of jealousy or trying to bring harm to their name and reputation, you're not going to have good luck behind that. But I'm still dreaming. I'm still, reaching out and talking to different people when I get that movement in my spirit. That's why, again, I'm glad you brought that up. That's why I'm interested in these Akashic records. I really, really would like to know about myself spiritually.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ms. Rosa. Now, Mr. Adewale, please let Ms. Rosa know about your rooms, your clubhouse room, your website, where she can make private consultation with you, because I know she's a private person. And I'm not sure if she wants to do this on a public forum, because we're live everywhere. When I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. We're actually on streaming live from Pandora and iHeartRadio as we speak. So keep that in mind if you decide, on that. So, Mr. Adewale, the floor is yours. Thank you so much, Ms. Rosa.
Okay, I'm gonna just give her one nugget, and then what she do, I'll tell her privately if she's open to that. So, how can I say this but not say it? You know who you are, and a lot of people are called. Few are that you are, right? Dreams are not dreams, right? Dreams are different dimensions and you're traveling to different dimensions to access knowledge. So in this realm, you can use that knowledge and apply that knowledge. What is applied knowledge? That's wisdom. That's wisdom. So you get wisdom in your dreams. You get prophetic dreams. You can't get those type of dreams if you're not a prophet of the Most High. So it's a reason why when Nicole was going through something, you knew. You didn't know how you knew, you just knew. Even when I'm speaking to you, you feel the energy of what I speak, and you like, what? This dude got some energy and he's intriguing me. But you never said that. But how do I know that? It's a reason why I know that. This is the energy of the Akashic Records. So if you want to know more, I have a website called adewalespeaks.com, and we can talk more privately.
Okay, I'm I'm definitely interested, and it's so funny when you said about being a prophet, and again, I don't claim these things, but it's so funny because when I was involved in the church, I was actually basically put out of the church because I questioned a lot of things, and I just saw a lot within the Black Christian church that was not, as they say, of God. And I kind of was denounced in front of the church. I was actually, they actually said that I was possessed by a spirit. And I ended up leaving the church years and years, over 20, 25 years ago. And I haven't been back since, and my life has been better for it. And it seems like uh, my gifts started coming more clearly. I was able to start dreaming more because I was out of that spiritual fog that I feel that the Black church has over a lot of Black folks.
Okay. So that's powerful. And I'm proud of you. But what they was doing, and I'm gonna just tell you the fact, they knew who you were. And the fact that they knew who you were, they tried to say that you was the false prophet when they were. Um and the, and then I also want to say this. Be careful with your words because it's spirits. It ain't just the Most High, it's spirits. So when you say that a spirit is powerful, you're giving that energy power over you. Or when you're saying you're being attacked, you're giving that energy power, you're giving that energy. When you, and I'm gonna break this down because I feel like y'all both need to hear this. Blackness is not a color. It's not a color. Black absorbs everything. It absorbs everything. So if blackness is absorbs everything, that means you are everything. So that means you are everything. You need to observe everything, then absorb everything. Because when you absorb everything, you're taking in things that don't need to be inside of you. Be the observer of your reality, and you will be the master of your reality. But if you absorb everything, that's chaos in the storm when you need to be the calm in the storm. Blackness is everything and nothingness. That's why when you look up and when it's dark, it's black. It's not a color. So that's what I want to say, and that's what I got.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that because I actually, only jumped on this live because she sent me a link. I wasn't even expecting any of this. So what you're saying again, when you say you can't absorb everything, when I tell you I literally had to remove myself from people and places, and that includes family. When I say I had to do that because I could not continue taking on other people's issues and burdens when they didn't want to listen, I had to get away from them. I live in a rural area in the mountains now. And when I left Michigan 8 years ago, prior to me leaving, I used to suffer horrific migraines. I knew that it was not anything uh, health wise wrong with me because I'm a very healthy person. I hike, I exercise, do all of that. But other people's energy was literally giving me migraines. Since I've moved away 8 years ago, I can count on one hand the number of migraines I actually have. And it is very, I appreciate everything you said when you said absorbing other people's energy and everything is not healthy for you in these spirits. I actually do exactly like you said. I don't absorb everybody's energy. I make sure that I'm pretty much, you probably could call me a recluse because I just go out to work and I do what I need to do in the public, but I pretty much stay to myself. And I honestly believe that's why I'm able to have the visions and different things that I have because I've cleared my space and I've only allowed people around me who I know definitely truly concern themselves, not only with me, but more importantly, they actually do concern themselves with their self and space because it's important for the people who are around you to also share that same philosophy of keeping negative energy out of their spaces.
Yeah, so I definitely want to tap in really quickly. Thank you so much, Mr. Adewale, for sharing. And thank you. I really appreciate you, Ms. Rosa, as well, for asking those much needed questions. And I want to say peace, peace, peace to time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Period. So we have some Clubhouse users tuning in now. Make sure you're sharing the space, inviting your friends in. We have special guests here. And we are going in or talking about the conversation of being overlooked, undervalued, genetic memory, and of course the Akasha records and how to maneuver through these things, So we have guest speaker, Mr. Adewale, of AdewaleSpeaks.com. And you definitely can find him on social media under the same name, Adewale Speaks, right? So with that being said, I definitely could connect to that. I can relate to that. I like using the word connection or relate because relate is a relation, right? So I'm very mindful of words that I use now. I definitely could connect to having that peace, right? But I also connect to the energy of wanting that connection to other people. It's real weird and messed up, but I think it's a genetic thing, especially when you come from a family of women, like a lot of women, okay? And when we have, women leading in leadership places, so they're always hosting, they're always, be in a position of you need to be this and you need to be that, and just a social family, like Southern families, and most of them are very social. So being at the age that I am, and it's like I feel like, oh, I'm wasting my life away because I'm not being social anymore. I'm not hanging out with my friends. I'm not out there in the world. I'm not networking. I'm not having the time that I used to have in my life. With COVID-19 and that pandemic or plandemic, if you want to call it. And it's no offense to this, no one, because I know you're a nurse, Miss Black. I know that, and I'm aware, and there's no disrespect to you. I just want to state that out there. But we all receive how we receive things, right? So it's not taken away from anyone that's been injured or anything else by COVID-19. I always make these disclaimers because I'm not trying to have nobody put my stuff out there and try to play me. Period. Now, getting back to what I was saying. So it's like COVID-19 had an impact on a lot of people that were social. Me, I took a flight like every month. I took a flight every month just to hang out with my friends, to have bonfires and stuff like that. And now it's been almost over a year since I've been on a plane. So imagine what that's done to me. And I watch so many other people that has impacted that way. And my little daughter, she came out of nowhere the other day. I was just down here, just quiet. And like the TV was on, but it was just on pause for hours. And I think I was doing my homework or just quiet, just listening to music. And she came over and she was like, she looked at me and then she sat down. I said, "You okay?" But she says, do you miss traveling? I said, "I do." She says, oh, Yeah, I know. And I said, well, why'd you say that? She's something, yeah, you just seem like you're a lot more happier when you're traveling all the time. She's like, I noticed that in you. She's like, I said, do I seem sad to you? She's like, you don't seem sad, but you don't seem happy like you used to be when you're outside, and you're with your friends and you get a chance to be with your friends and stuff. I said, well, that doesn't mean I don't love you. I said, but I also, as a mommy, I have a life too. She said, no, I understand. I want you to get out and travel more. I want you to travel more. She said, but I would like to come too sometimes. I was like, I understand that, but the fact that a little child came out of nowhere, I wasn't even talking to her. I was literally down here by myself. Just came down here, said that, and then she just disappeared back upstairs. She didn't stay for no full conversation. I think she literally came down here to remind me that, hey, you can get up and do it. You can go and do these things again. You are the only person stopping you from doing these things. Literally, I guess she couldn't get it in her mind to say, oh, like, outside is open because she's only 12 years old. She does have like her own things going on. So I can't believe I'm still not over that. It was only a couple of days ago that she said that to me. So how do you even feel? I already know that she's been here before. I know that she's older than me in spirit. So I know that matters, but it's just like the fact that she came down here. I want to know I don't want to know, but I feel like spirit led her, through her records to come down and like, you know what, mommy is not in a good headspace. Go down there and just say this to mommy so mommy can get out of the headspace that she in. Because literally that's what happened. So what do you think about that, Adewale and Miss Rosa?
Kids are God.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are God. Kids have the higher consciousness, not us. That's the programming that is being broken right now in the collective conscious, because I'm just gonna be real. A lot of older people think that kids don't know, but they actually know more than you.
Period.
And that's then older people, especially people in a biblical community, want to say honor thy mother and honor thy father, but they forget that when you provoke your kids to anger, God doesn't take that lightly either. And then I hate when people say honor thy mother and honor thy father. You have to be honored. You have to be honored. What does honor mean?
You had to be honorable.
You have to be honorable. So if you're not being honorable, you're not about to be honored. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And then who just came from spirit? Did us just come from spirit or the kids? The kids.
Okay, sorry.
The kids.
I'm getting all hyped up. You know how I get all hyped up. I'm starting to shake like, yeah, hell yeah, keep on going. I'm sorry.
The kids came from spirit. So who's more intuitive? The kids. Who more confident? The kids. Who got the more abilities? The kids. Who see more? The kids. It's the kids. Why you think Michael Jackson was so connected to kids? Because he knew they were the gateway to God. And if you ain't listening to the kid, so that's why your daughter came down there, because she's speaking with God. God is with her. And she was like, oh, boom, 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 boom. Mommy, she didn't need to ask you. She's telepathy talking to you and telepathy talking to God. But if you tell someone that's older, oh, that's not real. Who said that's not real? That's your own programming.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the energy that we're in today. And this is the energy that's going to be new in this Aquarian age.
She's an Aquarius Scorpio rising too. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello? I had to have her reading because I wish I could find the picture, y'all, because y'all would laugh so hard if I could find it. It was someone, one of my spiritual girlfriends, not to, like, I'm just jumping in, so you're going to be able to finish. Just give me a second. And they donated, well, I didn't want to say donate. She was a merchant. She was like, she didn't want to sell clothes no more. So she gave me like 4 trash bags full of brand new clothes, like, African, like the cute gypsy clothes and stuff like that, because I make clothes. She's like, no, I want you to upgrade your clothes. She's like, Spirit told me. I'm like, what? I don't need no clothes from you. I make my own clothes. She says, just take it, Empress. I'm like, well, Nicole, I'm like, okay, fine. But when I went through this bag, listen, everything was brand new with tags on it. Everything was brand new. I still got some of those clothes now to this day. I didn't donate it all. I still got some to this day, still brand new with tags on it. That's not even my size. I need to give away. And Bella found this little, like this dress thing, and it was like so colorful. You know how like Janae Aiko wear like kimonos and stuff like that, kind of like a kimono, but a little bit more African culture. But like it had like more gypsy colors in it, like more Wiccan. And she would, oh my God, I had to wash out every night. The child wore that thing for 4 months straight. She called it her moon dancing clothes. So everywhere we went, she had different color tights on, different color head wraps. Like she was me, like a little, like she would copy everything I would do. She'd be trying to put her head wraps on by herself. And she, for 4 months straight, I was like, no, what? Let me get a reading on her, because older people always walk into some, who grandmother is that? I said, what are you talking about? System, the little girl. Who grandmom is that? Like, who grandmom is that? And she still walks around with her slippers on and her little house dresses. I'm like, what the hell? I don't even walk around like that. And I always knew it. I said, I feel like Bella is older than me in spirit. But like when she went through something and she like Miss Time is on Clubhouse. I don't know if she want to respond in the comments because right now she's at a conference. But she did not go to bed last night. So I went to bed. So oh yeah, I'm gonna give you ice and then you can go to bed. I said, girl, it's almost 2:00 in the morning. Go to bed. And she's like, yeah, like looking at me like, yeah, okay, because because I've been sick for a month, so she feel like that in order for her to rest, she need to know that I'm well, that I'm okay. But I don't think that's just her 12-year-old body, because she'd be so tired. I think that's her spirit that be up trying to look after me, even though I'm the mother. And I had to remind her spirit a lot. Say, hey, I'm the mom spirit. That's my daughter. Let her get some sleep. Sometimes I actually had to say that out loud. And she's like, I'm going to go upstairs real quick to my room, and then she'll sleep for hours. After I tell her spirit that, like, hey, calm down. I'm the mommy. I got this. Let her rest. So I want to know, how do Akashic records have that role? Like, we're not talking about the wounded mother, because we have enough rooms on that. How do it affect that mother-daughter relationship? Because Miss Rosa is a girl mom as well. How does that affect us when we are connected to spirit with our daughters, and how we, maneuver through that genetic trauma and genetic optimalness. Okay, we're gonna use different words. Genetic optimal wellness. How about that? Yes, period. So how does it help us maneuver through that when we are healing it through the relationship with our children? Excuse me.
So if you don't heal from that trauma, your kids gonna have to heal from that trauma, or they're teach you how to heal from that trauma. Your kids is your soul family, so they probably could have been your mother, they probably could have been your sister. There could have been something to you some way, somehow. However, how you tap in, how you tap in to see who they are, you ask, you reveal. All you got to do is ask the kids, because the kids, they're not limited by their beliefs because they're not highly programmed. So when you just ask the kids, like, do you feel like you lived other times? Do you feel like you're my mommy? They might tell you something. The kids, man, if you really just tap in with the kids' intelligence and you just speaking to them, you will amplify their intelligence that will amplify yours, because the kids is not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
They love you. They're in unconditional love. Kids don't come out the womb racist. They come out the womb with unconditional love, but nothing but love. And their imagination is unbelievable. So when you keep developing that and don't knock that imagination, when they get older, imagine how they will be and imagine how their kids will be. But if you don't heal from something, your kids will have to heal from that. Because you know why? I know that I'm that kid that got to heal from my mom and my daddy stuff because they didn't do it. So I got to do it. So it starts with me. That makes sense?
Of course. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh yeah, my daughter, she experienced some brain trauma, and I was talking to someone, and I'm not gonna say I feel like they brushed me off, but I feel like a lot of spiritual people are not developing enough to talk about children and mother relationships, and I feel like a lot of people just think they can talk about whatever they want to, without regard of people how they actually feel. Being spiritual doesn't mean we're immune from feelings. I don't know where people thought that shit at. Knowing yourself does not mean you're immune from feelings. So I expressed that my daughter went through brain trauma, and when she came out of that, I felt like I didn't know who she was anymore. So I had resentment, not towards her, but towards spirit, towards the doctors. I feel like I had to still to this day, I feel like I'm getting to know her again. But the daughter before was she was clingy, but she was like animated. She would dance, she would laugh. And now I had to remind her every single day that, it's okay to dance in front of me. It's okay to be animated. It's okay to do all these things. Because like you said before, she would just say stuff. She was outside putting rituals into the conjure, our little conjure pot. I'm not going to say what it actually is. Our cauldron. Okay, our cauldron. She would put stuff into the cauldron and stuff like that under the moon and the fire. And we would have neighbors just stopping, looking like, what are you doing with those kids? You're going to hell. They wouldn't say those things, but you can read. When you can read, you can read. And they would just look like, she's barefoot in the summer dancing around fire and stuff like that at 12 o'clock at night because the moon is coming in, or 2 o'clock in the morning. We're outside doing these things. And that's my Bella. That's the Bella that I've been raising. But now it's like I had to remind her because of the injury she had to her brain that it's okay to be that way, because it's like now she's more apprehensive of it. And I think moving into teenage years, she's more nervous that she won't be accepted. But I remind her every day, like, who cares as long as you accept yourself? And I see it working. I'm not going to talk about her dark days. Me and Miss Rosa had the conversation because we have, that's our personal thing. But Bella has came a long way in the last year. She's transforming into like a beautiful young person. And I'm very proud of her, but I still spent all those years where I could have been developing that, when she was going through hard times, instead of being resentful that I had felt like I lost a child. I literally felt like my child had died and I was living with this new person, that I did not know. And a lot of people can't relate to that because like, oh no, my child really died. Okay. But having a child with brain injury, having a child to go into surgery completely fine and come out with a brain injury, that's literally like the death of a person, because you had to re-know this person, you had to retrain them, you had to rethink them, go through therapy, and they don't turn out the same all the time, so I think I had to tap into my own Akashic records to use that energy to not be so resentful, because it was coming out of me, like you said, out of me, and I wasn't being that full parent that I used to be, like being like fully invested, because I feel like, oh, she just don't understand anyway. But one day, like, I woke up and I told myself I was not going to die like this. That was last year. And I said, my children are not going to die like this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just treat her the way I used to treat her all the time. And I watched her transform on some like almost overnight. Like Spirit was like, this is what she needed all along. She just needed you to realize, don't take what happened to me and put that over me, but take what happened to me and use it as a tool to help me. And I don't know what you think about that, but I'm still not sure every day if I'm doing the right thing, but I feel like she's transforming, so I'm gonna keep on doing it.
I like that you said that. Well, you know how I feel personally, and again, like you said, we're not gonna go into that. But Adewale said something that was very important. Again, I'm no longer a part of the church, but when he said, "Honor thy mother and father," that is something that has been used against Black children in particular. It's a slave like type brainwashing. And for those who are still in the church, I always bring up also the passages about parents should not provoke their children to wrath or provoking their children to anger lest they be discouraged. So when you're in the church, that's why you have to know for thyself and study to show thyself approved. These things are in the Bible. You cannot continue to listen to the pastor. You just can't do that. You need to study for yourself if you're going to be in the Christian religion. As I said, I left the church, and now that I think about it, it was 30 years ago, because I'm 53. I was 21 when they did that to me in the church, and I removed myself from organized religion then, and my life has flourished for that. And I'm not telling Black women to leave the church in mass. You need to actually do the work yourself and not go by what me or anyone else tells you. And you can use that Bible to your advantage, because there's so much in the Bible that is not being revealed to members of the church. But I really want to stress, if you're going to stay in the church, read that Bible for yourself, and you will come away. You will come from under the spell of organized religion. You will come from under that spell. Even if you want to stay being a Christian, you understand that that's not being a part of the church, and that a lot of those passages were used by the slave master to keep the slaves in line, and it carried on to the point where Black folks started using that against their children. Even the form of beatings that we do is akin to the slave master or overseer beating their slave to keep them in line. So, the other day, I'm just going to say this right quick. I was at work, and I happened to go to this unit where they were having problems. And so I sat there and I was monitoring this patient. But in the meantime, there were 3 Black staff members, and I kid you not, they were openly talking about the grace of whooping. And there was another white staff member there. It was so freaking cringy because they were actually praising it and talking about how they were beat. I mean, being graphic about how they were beat as children. And I'm sitting up here thinking, you know better than the slave master. And for you to think that this is a way to keep your child in line instead of sitting them down and talking to them, you know, it's just ridiculous. We have to move away from a lot that was given to us as children when we didn't have any control. Yes.
Definitely,
But
definitely. I definitely agree with you, Miss Rosa. Yeah, because like when you're speaking about things like the Akashic records, and I remember Mr. Adewale brought up Kemet, which is Egypt, right? And we're not getting into no Egyptology stuff right now. I'm just saying that the Bible, because you know, as someone who's a spiritual worker and I believe in universal, I believe that every religion has truth to it. So I want those people that's universal, and I use my universalness, you know, and I use that in my daily rituals and stuff like that. But I do know that the 10 Commandments is based off the laws of Ma'at. So when people say like, "Oh, I don't believe in Kemet," and stuff like that, like y'all all stupid, you know, like stupid because the laws of Ma'at. If you read them, then you go read the 10 Commandments. You're like, "Oh, exactly, bro." You know, this is where it came from. Everything that you think that is something just for you came from somewhere else. You know, so. With that being said, Mr. Adewale, come on back in here. I don't know where you are, but come on back into the conversation and let us know what you're thinking about what Ms. Rosa share.
I believe she's speaking facts. She's speaking facts because, I mean, mind you, before I say anything, this is not saying that I'm asking you to agree with what I'm saying, but just try to overstand, and understand what I'm saying. She is absolutely right. That is slave mentality. That is trauma. And you want to go to the Christian, and I'm not saying just because you Christian or you one thing, or I'm not saying that you're not connecting to spirit. I'm not saying that. But the organized religion means realigning. What do I need to realign to? It's already in me. It's a temple within you. The Christian religion is the newest religion. And who made the the religion? The white man. The religion don't tell you who you are. Who are you? Who are you? If we don't know who we are, I don't think that's something we should follow. Why should we follow something when we don't know who we are? We giving money to people, and then when it's a pandemic, I don't see these churches putting people in there. I don't see these churches helping people with money. I see these churches taking money from people, and then we don't got no money. And you telling me that's right? You telling me that's godly? I don't know what God is that, but that's not the Most High. Period. And I ain't telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. That's not right. We got these organized religions making all this money, but we got black people in survival mode. You got black people not knowing who they are. You got black people, it ain't no daddy in a household. You got very manly women, and you got very feminine boys because it ain't no man, because the man in jail or the man don't want to be nothing. That's not unconditional God love. That's not love. Now, I'm not saying it's not information in the Bible that you cannot learn from and grow from, and there's some stuff in it. Absolutely, it is. But the way we went about it, that's not the way we need to go in the future, because that's not going to change. I can't. If I ask you guys, can we name 10 black people who are billionaires? We cannot say that. Can we name 10 black people that got some land that can change the world right now? We cannot say that.
I can say that. Wow. Go ahead.
Okay. But the point I'm making is we don't know people that can change this world with all this money that they have as black people. So We have to change the paradigm of how we think and how we move. So us and our kids and our kids' kid can move in the vibration and the high in the frequency of God consciousness. When we get in that frequency of God consciousness and God vibrations, oh baby, okay, we all can eat because abundance means infinite. We all can eat at the food table, and I'm talking about steak and lobsters. We all should be eating like that. And who say that we cannot be eating like that? So that's what I have. And yeah.
So thank you so much for that. I do want to comment on something. You know me, Miss Controversy, right? So I definitely want to comment on the whole masculine feminine thing because that's one of my areas as well that I focus on is energy, SSE, and tantra. So you called it kundalini, I called it kundalini, same thing, right? I pay attention to how people speak. I think that's really dope how you pronounce it differently. So, and I might be pronouncing it wrong. How about that? So that's the thing about perspective, right? So my thing is that I don't necessarily feel like women are masculine. I feel like women are dealing in wounded feminine energy. And I also feel like I don't feel like a lot of young boys are feminine. I feel like they are dealing in wounded masculine energy because we all have masculine and feminine energy. So we have to balance that out. Not sure your take on that because, like I said, me and you literally just met in person in the physical last week. Well, not like offline, but but I feel like we already knew each other for a long time. So we reconnected that way. So I'm not sure how you feel about that, but like I said, Miss Controversy, hello, and this is a podcast, so I'm definitely gonna, put things out there to spark some more conversation around these things because, like you said, I'm definitely in agreement, but also I'm also in that space where you are, where it's like if you're not doing the work for self first to liberate your family first, you can never liberate the community. And a lot of people that do have money, they're not doing that work on self. They're just obtaining things for status. They're not obtaining things for the glory of liberation or the glory of optimal wellness, but if it makes it look that way so they can get more money, they're going to do those things, so I definitely can agree with that when it comes to like land purchase. And I also am in a space of feel like that I don't owe anyone anything, because most people walk around like they are old and entitled, but they're not willing to do the work to receive or to be productive with whatever you give. Does that make sense to you?
It makes complete sense. So I'll break this down. So you say you don't think women
it's not even a think thing, like knowledgeable. I'm there with wearing wounded feminine energy more so than a masculine energy, because masculine energy is completely different from feminine.
Okay. You said your case, I'm gonna say mine. So okay. So because you're talking to a dude that went through that as well. Mm-hmm. So, and this is something that I studied within my family. So my mom doesn't have a man, and then my father there. So someone has to put that structure. Someone has to put that structure. But there was no structure. What is structure? That's masculine energy. So I didn't have no structure because I didn't learn from a masculine energy. And my mom masculine energy ain't divine right now. And saying this podcast, this is not to come at my mom. I'm just speaking so we can understand. So I understand from what I went through. Am I a feminine man? Yes. Am I in tune to my masculine? Yes. But I never learned from my father in a precise way that was going to help me evolve. You know why? Because I understand how I did it, because what I went through in my life. I was looking for external validation through football. And when a man didn't validate me, I didn't feel like I was enough. So that's from masculine energy, because I didn't have my father there to give me that. So that was my trauma, because daddy wasn't there to take me to the fair, to change my underwear. Daddy wasn't there. And then my mom always working all the time. I wanted more nurturing energy, because kids want to be nurtured. Do I love my mom? Yeah, that's my girl. But sometimes you got to see things for what it is so you can grow. And I didn't get a lot of nurturing energy from my mom. So I dated a lot of women in my life to get that nurturing energy from my mom, because she wasn't there, because she had to provide. And what do they say about men? Men are supposed to provide. But my dad wasn't there, so my mom had to provide as a man and then try to be the mother. So my mom was trying to be the man and the woman at the same time. And yes, do we have masculine and feminine? But when you're not in tune with both, something has to give. So that, and I learned, and I was raised by women. I was raised by women. So I could have easily been gay. Thank God that I'm not. But it's a lot of men. If you raised by women and you see all the women and how they move and how they stuff, how could you know how to be a man?
I don't agree with that. Well, that's for another day. We're gonna save that conversation for another day because we can go in. You know what I mean? And we're about to run out of time.
we can agree. We can agree to disagree.
No,
but
I don't do that. Come on. Hey, you put me in a hard place right now, Adewale. You put me in a hard place. We want to go over. Time with this one because you got my brain on fire.
We can agree to disagree. But if we in this podcast,
just agree to put this to another day to have this conversation instead of agreeing to disagree, because I definitely want to disagree with you. I think we need to do this in another episode because I think that's something. This conversation is extremely important because you said a lot of things that we talk about all the time that you never hear Black males admit to. So I just think that that's interesting as hell, and I'm intrigued by this conversation too. It's like, wow, okay, you real vulnerable. And that's to me, that's strength. I see vulnerability as strength. And
yeah, I appreciated what he actually said. And it kind of made it come full circle when he's, because I've never liked, and this is just me. This is no strike against, single moms. You know my story. I'm a widow, but I'm a single mom because I had to raise my children alone after the death of my husband. But I'm going to say this. I've never liked when single mothers have said they're the mother and the father. I mean, because there are some single fathers out there who raise their children, and I never hear them say they're the mom and the dad. But something that he said about the provider thing, that's when you're talking about balance. And a mom going out and doing, like he said, the provider is traditionally, we're talking about traditionally, the role of the father. And so the mom who's forced to provide, she's too tired to nurture at the end of the day. So when you said that about your experience as a child who grew up in a single parent home, that really came full circle for me to hear you say that, because even now, my baby is almost 18, but it's the same thing. I can say, there are times when, I've been working. She goes to school, of course, during the day. That's when I'm getting my rest. And so by the time she comes home in the evening, I'm either resting so I can go to work, or I'm just so tired and drained from working that she has told me about myself. And I've always had that open dialogue with my children. In fact, my daughter goes to therapy. But she has told me, I am not really fully present with her the way she needs me to be as a mom. So when you say that provider thing, like I said, that just hit home for me. Thank you.
Gratitude.
I didn't hear you.
I just said gratitude.
Oh, yeah. Because I don't want you to know this one thing, Mr. Adewale. I wasn't invalidating you. I feel like your experience definitely is valid. But if you would like to come on for a special divine intervention, not the AM Inspiration show, of course, because that's not a topic for the show, but definitely come on for an actual podcast. And I could try to get some women together and some men together, and we can do the whole a panel thing where we talk about that, because I think that your perspective is rare. It's rare to have a powerful man. And I didn't mean to say male to you, but I was just talking in general because I call a lot of Dusties males.
None taken.
I don't want you to think I invalidate you and not come back here. You know what I mean? Because it's not directed towards you. but I would love to have you on an episode of Divine Intervention where, because that's what we're doing. We're intervening the consciousness or the programming that's been set upon us. And I feel like what you were saying, whether I liked it or not, is truthful because it's your truth, and I'm sure other people can relate to that, and I probably need to sit down and listen and be able to receive from another perspective. But I do still feel like what you experienced was wounded masculine energy, from your mother, a woman and feminine energy from your mother, and what you experienced from your own, point of view is just wounded masculine energy. But you were able to maneuver through that, so you had to balance out yourself, and that's, you know what I mean, or no?
No, I mean,
No.
no. I agree with you.
Okay.
How can I say this? I agree with you. Because like I'm fortunate enough, and I give God the praise. Some things I have as a man, I don't know how I have it. I don't know how I have it, but I have it. Um, and also I learned this too from breaking down the 7 Hermetic laws. Nobody in this universe is motherless or fatherless.
Mm-hmm.
So we all got that higher mother source and father source. But the human, you got to have both. Because when you in this human form, that's how you feel lost. That's how you feel like, well, am I doing? Because some kids need validation that what they doing sometimes is right. Like,
Yeah.
dad, am I throwing this ball right? Yes, son. You look so good, son. You
Mm-hmm.
doing this, son. Or mommy, I just need some love. Come here, baby. But boy, get out of my face. I'm tired. I've been working all day. So that's when I get
Mm-hmm.
I get resentful.
Yeah.
That's that energy. However, God put men like my wrestling coach in my life and other men in my life, like my great uncle before he transitioned, to help me develop as a man. And even the women, my mom is probably one of the strongest people I met in my life, but I understand that she's tired. When you work 3:30 to 11:30, you tired. And you did that from when I was a kid all the way to I was junior in high school. She's tired. So I give my mom compassion. But this is the dysfunctional families in Black homes that we need to move forward and do better in, so we can have better kids. They can have better kids at a higher vibration, and then being in dysfunctional families, and then that doesn't it's just trauma that doesn't need to have, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but like, we're going to save this topic for another day because that's one of those topics that's not for this show. And I know, like, it's easy to get into these hard topics, that, force you to sit down and actually talk about it. But we are on our season finale show today, and I know, like, all of us are extra deep, like the Mariana Trench, and I'm so interested. It made me feel like create a room after this. But no, I want you to save this for us, save it for later, so we can invite you back on and have another conversation, on the main podcast where we're having like our co-hosts, and different things like that. So you can actually have this conversation with him because he's a man, right? So I can listen back and, chime in where it's needed. And this is a conversation I feel like that a lot of women need to come to and just listen, because whether or not it's wounded or not, it's still valid. I'm one of those people that try to avoid stuff, if you notice. But because I don't really, I'm more free spirited, you know what I mean? But like something you guys did say about the mother, like your mother when she's tired. When I'm tired, if I say something that I don't mean, I make sure I apologize because I know how it feels to resent a parent. And I always tell my children, hey, I don't want you to have a childhood you had to recover from. And I apologize. Like, I'm sorry. Is there anything I could do? Like next time I could say it better. I could say it differently. And I won't say it like that again. Because I make it my business to let them know that they're still humans and they still deserve apologies. They still deserve respect. And I feel like that's the only way I'm going to get that from them if I give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Did I say that right? Only way I'm going to get that from them if I give it to them. I'm not sure if I said that right. Wait. Only way I can receive it if I give it. Okay, that's what I meant to say. So I'm flabbergasted right now because you and Ms. Rosa touched on a topic that I don't even touch on anymore. I just leave it alone because like being a divorced mother, I feel like it's so much single mother hatred in the Black community that I just leave it alone because it's like we get blamed for being put in positions that men left us in. You know what I'm saying? So I just leave it
Yeah.
alone. I leave it alone. You
But
know, but
I think that your space, and I hate to interrupt you, but I think that your space is not coming from a place of darkness
mm,
where you're shaming or hating. I appreciate what Adewale brought up, and I
yeah,
also appreciate what you brought up. And I really think that we need to come, if we're going to heal, if we're truly going to heal for those who want to be healed, we do have to come from a place of truth and honesty and have these conversations. It's not really calling your single parent out. We know primarily it's women who are single parents, but it's not calling them out. They use the tools that they had to they were equipped with so many just so many tools that unfortunately it did leave an impact on the children. Like you say, you don't want your child to grow up to recover from a bad childhood. So having these conversations is a starting point so that those children will not grow up wounded like so many of us, especially in my generation. As I said, I'm 53. You just didn't talk against your parent. That's why I made sure my children are able to come to me and call me out on my bullcrap. And they will tell me about myself. Does it hurt? Hell yeah. But if it means they will be better for it, then temporary pain for permanent positive goals is where you want to be at.
I agree. I
So
definitely
please
agree.
have that room, and I would love to be a part of it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So we all three of us, I'll talk to y'all. I know you're not on Clubhouse no more, but I'll definitely talk to Mr. Adewale because I definitely don't ever want him to feel invalidated by me. You're not invalidated, but this show is not the space for that. I want to talk a little bit more about the Akashic Records before we head on out of here. So I definitely got a question for you because you just shared that. I think it was beautiful that you shared that. It was brave of you, and I just thank you for that. Period. So I just want you to always keep that in your heart that I'm grateful that you shared because it takes a lot to be vulnerable as a man. I'm not a man. I can never be a man. Don't know what it feels like to be a man. I don't know if it's fear behind sharing. I don't know any kind of anxiety you might feel, but I feel like that you know yourself, and I'm just proud to know you. So can you let us know one more time how you use your Akashic records to actually heal yourself through the trauma that you experienced to be able to help other people heal and take us out of here? I'm going to come on after you, of course, to take us out officially with your story and also your website, how people can contact you and things of that nature.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Um,
bless you.
so thank you.
You're
Um, so how I use the records to heal myself is the records is like I said, infinite knowledge. So I go to the past to learn how to move in the present. I don't think you should go to the past and just sit in the past because that could be depression. But I go to the past to learn how to be better in my present. And I go into the past of like my childhood of like, okay, why am I so impulsive? And I go into the energy of why I'm so impulsive is because the emotional abuse that I went through. So how do I get through this? Okay, how can I channel my energy of my emotions? Okay, what they say, you need to break down your emotions. What is emotions? Emotions is energy moving. Okay, so if you don't move that energy stays stuck. Okay, so what does it stay stuck? It stays stuck in the body. Okay, so that means if I need to release this, how can I release this? By moving my body, releasing, by crying, by being vulnerable. So I go into my younger self and re- go see what went happened with my younger self and release that. And sometimes I don't just do it like that. I journal to my that I know consciously and be like, "Hey, what happened to you when you were 7 years old? That's not gonna happen to you again." I'm here for you. I love you. That's not going to happen to you again. I'm giving you love. So I'm giving myself, I'm being that mommy and daddy to myself, to my inner child, and moving from that so my inner child can be healed and be whole, and then moving forward. That makes sense?
That's beautiful. I don't have no words. I'm just listening. I knew that it was the right choice when Spirit was like, get him on there, for this special episode, because Spirit knows better than I know, period. I just feel like I'm a vessel. And I felt like when I met you, you were a vessel because the way you speak to people, the way that you love on people. So I'm just grateful that you are even sharing. Because like I said, I never met a man that could just openly be vulnerable, that could be openly love on people without any shame, without any regret. And I just think that's amazing factor of your personality, and I'm just grateful to know you. So I do want you to take us out of here, Miss Rosa. If you want to comment to what he just said, go ahead and make your last comment, and then we're going to take us out of here after Mr. Adewale speak. I'm gonna take y'all on out of here.
I don't have anything further to say. It's been a very enlightening show, and you will be hearing from me, Mr. Adewale.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My name's Adewale. If you guys, anybody that's listening and you guys are interested in Akashic Records, go to adewalespeaks.com. You can book a session with me. I do 30 minutes to an hour. So if that's something that you're open to, feel free to go to Adewale Speaks. And also, if you guys want to learn how to do the records, I also teach that. So you guys can go to my website and do that as well. I do numerous of things. You can reach out. On Clubhouse, my name is 11 the Messenger. And then my name on Instagram is One Oye Wale 1. So OYEWALE 1, and that's my name. So anybody love this energy and this frequency that I'm talking about, feel free to reach out, and I will be glad to help you on you guys' journey of life.
Period. I'm gonna hit my soundboard even though y'all can't hear it. I definitely encourage y'all to listen to the replay because I hit the soundboard so many times when y'all speaking today. Going to work on technical problems that I have. This was our 60th episode, period. Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Adewale. Thank you so much for coming through, Miss Rosa. This has been the one and only, often imitated, never duplicated AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up consciously, spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, mentally, and what? And soulfully. Now, this has been your host, Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show, The Love Experiences, and TheCurve.net. Like Mr. Adewale speaks, if you are into the Akashic Records and getting to know yourself better in self-development, reach out to him on Adewale Speaks. That's A as in Apple, D as in Dog, E as in Eric, W as in Wallace, A as in Apple, L as in Leroy, E as in Eric, S as in Sam, P as in Paul, E as in Eric, A as in Apple, K as in Kite, S as in Sam.com. Peace, y'all. Thanks for coming out.